I'm told that the lift is working.
We've got great excitement tonight that the lift is working.
Yay!
It is gobsmacking.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Oh goodness.
Sorry.
If you don't see me again, tell my family I love them.
If you're ever wondering what the status of the lift is here,
It was an experience.
subscribe. Subscribe. Evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
Are you ready for your show? Subscribe.
I think we're as ready as we get.
Welcome to Cloud Native Media number 11. Fantastic. Great to see you all here again. Isn't it a great evening? We are very, very excited to have what we're having coming up this evening. Well, what's happened since we were last here? The clocks went back. Yeah, I know, it's horrible. Happened on my watch. Who's been here before? Yay. Right. And who is new, first time? Thank you very much. Lovely to see you all. Please, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to have this group of people in the room at the same time, at the same place. So coming up tonight, we've got who wants to be a cloud media engineer? And then after that, we've got Mr. Atkins talking about how we did this quiz, or how we wanted to do this quiz, but some of it didn't work. But anyway, I'm sure David will tell you about that later, because actually, all of this took a bit of work tonight. So thank you to David and his team for everything that they've done. Who are we? We're this informal group. You're here. Hopefully, you know what the format is. It's informal. It's fun. We want to share all of this information and bring in knowledge from the cloud community and the media community, and develop our capabilities. What's cloud? Well, cloud computing infrastructure dynamically defined and controlled by software. That is my definition. I think generally people like it. We'll go with that. What's cloud native? We've got David's little definition of what cloud native is here. It's basically, let's not use cloud just to do the same thing again. Let's do something different. Let's do something new. Let's leverage the cloud to do something interesting. One of the things that we're doing tonight. Why Cloud Native Media? We are collaborating. We're here to collaborate. We're here to work together and build knowledge and trust, and because we can't all know everything about everything we do. We have a call for lightning talks. We have a call for lightning talks all the time. If you have a lightning talk, you'd like to come and talk for 5 minutes, we have a form to fill in. You can follow the link on cnm.live. We have a code of conduct. It's a serious thing. I'll leave you a moment to read it. Organisers, well, we've been doing this for about a year and a half. David's over there. He'll be talking in a second. Event sponsors. Arqiva.
My name is Tom Woods. I'm the product manager for VOD and media processing within Arqiva. We are an infrastructure communication company, and we sit at the heart of both the media and broadcast, media and utilities industries. Very happy to sponsor the event. We do have a number of vacancies, so if anyone wants to join us on our journey to support these two beautiful industries, please send them our way. And we also have a whole bunch of cloud products, which are very, very interesting, and we'll be happy to talk around.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Who is next? TechX. Russell, are you going to talk about TechX?
Absolutely. Hello, thanks for coming. I'm from TechX. We're cloud and live video specialists, anything IP. You want to move it around, then that's what we're interested in. And we believe in what we call new broadcast, which is the bringing together of the old traditional, deterministic, very reliable systems. When they weren't reliable, you knew exactly how to fix them quickly, into the new world where we have a lot more flexibility, a lot more ability to do things, but it's trickier. And this is exactly the type of community that we think is really valuable and essential to keep this voyage going forward. And what we're doing tonight is exactly what we believe in: testing out new boundaries, working out what can happen, and I look forward to it. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much. I'm David O'Dwyer. I'm the director of Livewire. We help companies design, build, and operate cloud-native infrastructure. So I'll keep this brief. There you go.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, you know, it's back to subscribing. Back to subscribe. This is why I have to look at the cameras. Where are all the cameras? Subscribe, 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 subscribe. Yeah, please, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please just go and do a bit of subscribing. You can press like and do all of that stuff as well. Thank you very much. News. Everyone's favourite section, the news section. So we have launched our special liftstatus.live. Unfortunately, this slide was only updated early today, and the lift was fixed this morning. Whoa! So if you go to liftstatus.live now, you'll find it has been updated. So there you go. So if you're ever wondering what the status of the lift is here, just go to liftstatus.live, and it is there. It is there. It is there. Thank you very much. So Russell has launched his broadcast focus. If you know Russell, if you don't know Russell, please again something else for you to subscribe to. So yeah, please go and subscribe to Russell's podcasting thing as well. As you can see, I have already been a guest on that. So AWS have launched their EU sovereign cloud, which is part of apparently their sort of sovereign initiative to try and, I guess, as I said, lean into the splinternet trend, which is all about really data sovereignty and telling everyone that actually, don't worry, the US government isn't spying on you, I think is generally the summary, isn't it? So that's happening. We'll see what that actually means and what else comes out of that. It's one to watch for sure. UKTV today actually has announced which is an interesting move. So they've created this umbrella brand for UKTV, which is going to be U ampersand all of their channels. And this makes a lot of sense for them simply because it sort of helps them brand their streaming app that obviously all the programs from all the channels are on. So it's like a sort of parent umbrella brand that they can use for that. So that's just a new announcement today. Oh yeah, the British Library. Oh dear, it's like every month. I've literally had this image in the deck for months, and every month there's another one, isn't there? There's another compromise. But yeah, looking into this one was interesting. It looked like British Library had unsecured VMware in their data center. I say unsecured. They probably had a password. It was probably a silly password, no multi-factor authentication. But I'm just speculating, by the way. But all of their stuff was down. Payment, you couldn't actually pay with a card at the British Library Cafe because of this. So pretty disastrous stuff for them, and definitely a reason to be taking security very seriously. And Doctor Who 60. Yeah, look, that's me facing up to some Daleks. So yeah, 60 years of Doctor Who, like it or loathe it, it's there. Cloud Native news. David, you're up.
Cool, so we just jump straight in. So there's been a couple of things in the space. I know there's been a lot of talk of containers and more modern technologies, lots of stuff to do with clouds and public clouds, but I wanted us just to kind of go back to some of the other areas that have been affected in the cloud native space, which is private cloud, which is, I know, something which is relevant to a lot of industries, a lot of people's companies here. So there's been some interesting developments from Canonical. So they've just released a new product called MicroCloud. And what MicroCloud is, it's a solution to build highly available clusters, hardware, physical tin, not VMs, not containers, but physical tin. It's designed for on-prem implementation, and it's specifically focused on these 3 to 50 node installations, which I think is a good sweet spot for a lot of companies, especially as a lot of companies are deploying multiple 3 to 50 node installations across multiple data centers for high availability in itself. It integrates various open source technology, and it supports live migration and automatic failover capabilities. So some real enterprise win features baked in to the tech. So the technology stack is something that a lot of people are probably familiar with if they understand canonical technology stacks. So it's based around LXD, Containervisor for node and workload management, Ceph for distributed storage, Open as ZFS for local storage. That's a big deal in my opinion. OVN for cluster interconnect virtualization, Snap packaging for all tools, sad times, but it is compatible with 64, ARM64, so your Raspberry Pis, as are your edge devices, as well as your big cluster nodes, it's all managed the same way. So it's not built on Kubernetes, surprise, but allows running Kubernetes. So even if you are looking to run Cube on a local infrastructure, this could be the underlying technology to do that. So the reason for the title is I think they've timed this quite well. So there's a number of organizations which are looking at the latest acquisition of VMware and are getting a little bit worried about their licensing model or what their licensing model may become, especially when you're dealing with these sort of small 50-node installations or multiple 50-node installations. So I think Canonical have timed this quite well to release a well-factored, simplified alternative. So one to look out for. CloudNativeCon North America 23. So I just wanted to hit some of the highlights, going more into the cloud native space. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I know it's quite spectacular. It is gobsmacking.
The coffee is later.
It's true. It's true. That's true. So you ready? Cool. Open telemetry. So this is one of the big things that came from CloudNativeCon, was the three big things that people were interested in was around telemetry, observability, policy management, and general management, and networking. Those were the big, like the top topics from CloudNativeCon. So OpenTelemetry is a technology stack or event or a collection of open source standards. It's now graduated as part of the CNCF. It's vendor agnostic. So what we found is like a lot of these new waves of technology, the big early companies of the observability companies. You know, they're the ones who come in, they're the ones who throw all of the marketing money, they're the ones who, you know, it's king of the hill sort of work. And now we do have a number of very large observability companies. And now what you've got is you've got a lot of customers who are in one of those camps. And it's very difficult for those customers to move across camps. So a lot of customers were wondering, what's my exit strategy? My licensing is increasing, it's getting increasingly more difficult for me to finance this, but all of my standards, all of my tooling, all of my integration points are based around their standard. This is where OpenTelemetry comes in. It removes the vendor from the point of extracting the data. So now with the OTLP 1.0 standard, you have a vendor agnostic standard for getting logs, metrics, traces out of your various pieces of open source tooling, as well as hardware, because hardware will start supporting this standard as well. So OpenTelemetry doesn't provide a backend. It's not trying to win that game. So you can plug whatever you want. You can keep with whatever systems you have, but you could also start to mix and match. You can start saying, actually, I want this open source technology to do this, because I don't want to pay the license fee of my current provider to do this, because it's really expensive. And it gives you options. So OpenTelemetry is something definitely to look at. Other standards, WebAssembly, starting to get that little bit of buzz now. Starting getting a bit of maturity in the space, a lot more WebAssembly, talking about management of WebAssembly, the ability of running like assembly on the client side. So here we go again. We went thin clients, now we're going fat clients. It's all going around again. So now data centers are trying to slim down, trying to save energy costs, network costs, storage costs, trying to push the responsibility of the runtime onto the end user again. This is what people are looking at. And what they're looking at is they're looking at it the same way as that they're looking at containers. They're looking at the same way that they manage containers and version containers and push containers. And they're looking at this as a way of providing that same sort of containerized delivery model, but at the edge, as far in the edge as it can be in the browser. Crossplane. So this is a very interesting technology product. Anyone who is running Kubernetes or understands Kubernetes looks at it as an orchestration system for deploying and orchestrating containers, also orchestrating some of the underlying cloud technology for running those containers like storage, load balancers, that sort of thing. Crossplane looks to extend that model to everything. So when you drop in your request for loading up your container, delivering your ELB, Crossplane gives you a way of saying, actually, I also want to call off this API and provision this thing. I also want to call onto this API and provision this thing. And allow Kubernetes to orchestrate and to converge those resources alongside your actual containers, storage, and other services. So this is becoming more and more relevant, especially since Terraform have made a little oopsie with their recent licensing changes. I'll be quick, ePPF. This is to do with, it's a Linux extension. It's the ability to run, very basically, it's the ability to run user application code in the context of the kernel, which means you can start doing some really interesting stuff with things like networking. And so all of the service meshes, which is the layers that sit within container networks that provide a level of like a functionality like encryption, provide traceability, add in basically a software-defined networking layer within Cube and other services, they're all starting to pivot to this. So instead of having to run a sidecar container or additional processes alongside everything, you can leverage what's in the kernel. It's very fast, very light. And you're going to see lots and lots of more software starting to use eBPF as their way of doing stuff within Linux. And Selenium Mesh have just recently added in a new feature that allows you to extend beyond the cluster. So now you've got your policies that says, I want to allow this container to access this container. Now it allows you to extend that out to just nodes, because the nodes have eBPF. So now those nodes, you can say, that node has this firewall rule. This node has this encryption. This node has these policies. Even though it's not Cube, you can start extending the policies that you're managing with Cube with that. Last but not least, on this list anyway, AI, machine learning ops. Now Kubernetes is more standard. Looks like CNCF are looking to pivot to the next great marketing land grab. You know, it's the standard thing. You get organizations when they run out of road with the current thing, it's no longer the latest and greatest. What they look to do is they just look to go to AI as a way of justifying them being in the space. OpenAI. So basically, we've got this whole thing with OpenAI. I'm sure we've all read it. We've all seen it. But for those who somehow have missed the timeline of events, SAML were firing, reflected deep riff of AI safety and societal impact within OpenAI. That's the official line at the moment. I'm waiting for the next Netflix documentary that will tell me otherwise. So there is this rift between this idea of fast, open, public development versus closed lab development. And I think this is something that's going to come out more and more with certain companies looking to develop things closed, and then release them slowly, and other companies like OpenAI, which are more willing to put things out, even if there's a risk, even if there's safety concerns, putting them out in the public for more faster iteration. I think it's a really interesting just space in terms of open development, regardless of it being AI or any other industry, this idea of just iterating really fast in public, relying on your idea of failing forward, and relying upon being able to move fast enough that you can compensate for any issues that you hit. So, and it returned to the king, and it was all a mistake. And he came back, and yeah, returned, and there's been a bit of a shuffle within the board. And you just got to say, I feel really sorry for Emmett Shear, who was the CEO for 72 hours. You know, didn't even get into the magazine cover, and he left. But anyway, so that's CNN. Thanks very much. See you.
Subscribe. Yes. See you later. So now it's showtime. In 2021, a fire prevention system caused a major outage. Two minutes, grab a beer, finish off the pizza, whatever it takes. We'll get you mic'd up. Subscribe. We'll get me mic'd up because I can't do it with this. And we'll be back.